Paul Aaron delivered a really decent drive last time out in Australia as we kicked off Season 2, but we've also got to the bottom of Fred Vesti's problems. I didn't put the parts on his car. Hello folks and welcome to another episode of Ahgp here on F1 Manager 2024. We're gearing up for the Chinese Grand Prix around the Shanghai International Circuit, and yes, you are absolutely hearing that right. I forgot to put Fred Vesti's parts on the car, well, the new parts on his car. So he ran the original spec car in Australia, and that showed basically where we would have been without any development, which is not good. Basically, we would have been last and very last. So he's now got all of those parts on his car, which is good news. So hopefully he can be a bit closer to Paul Aaron in terms of performance, and maybe we can finish in 15th, 14th sort of positions where he was last season. Now, before we head to China, we need to welcome a new member of staff. Say hello to Andy Stevenson. He's looking very serious, isn't he? And yes, well, he should. He is sort of the old headmaster of the team, isn't he? He's here to whip everybody into shape, especially the pit crew, making sure that our pit stops are very, very good. He's good at leading. He's good at training. He's got high aptitude. I feel like these were nerfed once we hired him. They were definitely higher before. His mentality is affecting them. So, okay, that's not good. We need to do better so that his stats go up and things get better. It does seem like once you've got negative mentality, it's just a spiral. It's very difficult to maintain or to get out of it and then maintain it because everything's up and down. So hopefully that doesn't remain a theme through this save. Hopefully we can get on top of that and make sure that everyone is happy, because a happy environment is a productive environment, and that is a point scoring world championship winning environment, and I want to be part of it. In the Constructors' Championship, as you can see here on the left hand side of the screen, we are bottom, below Haas, Sauber, Alpine, RB and Williams, who have all yet to score. Ferrari only 5 points in the opening race in Australia, but Red Bull dominating with a 1-2 finish. Max Verstappen and new teammate Yuki Tsunoda getting the job done ahead of Mercedes. So let's head to China. It is a tyre killer that we saw last season, so maybe a 3-stop could be on the cards. Let's get to practice and check out some strategies. Qualifying is underway. Both drivers are preparing for their first efforts of the session, and I should just update you on a couple of upgrades that we've got, one each for each car essentially. Paul Aaron, who we're watching, is running a new specification of side pods, and he's also getting blocked by a Sauber. Fantastic. And Fred Vesti, who's also being blocked by the Sauber. Who is that? That's Bottas. Unbelievable. He is running a new specification of suspension, which is actually the third iteration. So we did like a no hours, just gain expertise version. Then we did a better version of that. So hopefully that is giving us performance, and it's allowing Fred to be faster than his teammate at the moment by about, wow, it's about 3/4 of a second. Aaron lost a lot of time, about half a second in the first sector, thanks to Bottas's antics at the first snail. So here we go. First lap time for Paul Aaron is a 34.7. Fred Vesti beats it by 1.2 seconds. Obviously he would have got close enough for a slipstream down the back straight. So that blockage by Bottas just got compounded at all points for Paul as Fred closed in on him. So we need to be very wary of traffic on our second run. It's time for our final flying laps. Fred Vesti is going to be leading the way for us. He crosses the line and there is no traffic for him. What about Paul Aaron? This time he's free of any obstructions, which is good news. What we do need is improvements, and we are getting that with both drivers in Sector 1. Very good news. So a 24.2 for Fred and a 24.1 for Paul Aaron. Interesting that Paul was able to go quicker than his teammate in Sector 1. We're currently 19th and also last. So if we can find some time, we might be able to challenge Liam Lawson for that final spot in Q2. Fred, not a personal best in Sector 2. Paul is actually about 3/10 up on this lap. So he's going to maybe plop himself just ahead of Fred. Checkered flag is out. Here comes Fred Vesti. Does he improve? He did not improve. Paul Aron goes 19th, and we lock out the penultimate row of the grid. We've not managed to beat Esteban Ocon or even get close to Liam Lawson. We're still best part of 3/10 off, but yeah, at least we're not locking out the back row. That would be worst case scenario, I think, but we can maybe work through this in the Grand Prix. We're going with a 3-stop strategy for both drivers today. It says it's slightly faster by a couple of seconds, and I'm hoping that by using the soft tyre a bit more, we can push or at least have more pace than others around us, especially if they're switching to the hard tyre in the middle stint. We might be able to undercut a few of them and then close them down later on fresher rubber, or we could be way out of the picture and far too far behind. Starting from 19th and 20th, you've got every opportunity of making this work, so we might as well give it a go. I've taken a bit of fuel out to see if we can be a bit quicker at the start. Both drivers relatively happy with their setup. Obviously Paul Aron 100% satisfied, so that's good. In theory, he should be very fast at his maximum pace. We hopefully can keep the driver confidence high, because once that goes low, their stats just get nerfed. It's really frustrating, but hopefully this strategy allows them to thrive and we can move up the order. Let's go to the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's Verstappen versus Lando Norris at the front of the grid. The 5 red lights are out. The race is on. It's a good start for Verstappen. How are our boys getting on at the back of the grid? Vesti is fending off Hulkenberg, who had a disappointing qualifying, but Paul Aron is trying to go around the outside of Esteban Ocon, and I think he might just be able to make this stick. Can he sneak in for the apex of turn 3? Yes, he can, and that is the position gain. Fred Vesti has lost the place to Hulkenberg, who's actually challenging Ocon now. So, we've actually swept back past Hulkenberg. Lovely. So we're up into 18th and back to 20th as Behrman looks to get past Hulkenberg. So, yeah, relatively good start. We'll settle down now and see if we can just tag along with this midfield group with some DRS. Paul Aron has got himself up into 17th place. It hasn't shown us a replay of his overtake on Pierre Gasly, but he's there in 17th. Fred Vesti is in 19th now. He's just overtaken Esteban Ocon, who seems to be reversing his way down the order. That's apparently not very good here today, but we're doing all right. Paul has got DRS on Liam Lawson, and that's a battle with Bottas that the Alpine has just won out in. So hopefully this allows Fred to close in a bit. We should probably deploy battery and get him on the back of Gasly and really get our race rocking and rolling. Paul Aron is challenging Valtteri Bottas for supremacy down into the hairpin. That's Vesti behind, sending it on Gasly. Oh, they almost made contact as Paul Aron moves up into 16th place, and Vesti has to remain in 19th. He did have his nose ahead, but they had to battle it out at the apex. Maybe Fred can challenge into turn 1. Let's get him harvesting some battery through the first couple of corners. Paul as well. Let's juice up the battery in the first sector and see if we can defend or even move forwards. Well, we haven't managed to move forward, but we have moved backwards. Pierre Gasly has just picked us off with DRS. As you can see, Bottas has disappeared from our sight. He's not even in shot. There he is, just into the braking zone of the hairpin. Our soft tyres probably past their best as we approach 50% wear on them, and Paul Aron has dropped almost 2 seconds behind Pierre Gasly, and Fred Vesti has Hulkenberg all over his gearbox. So our tyre wear is actually atrocious. Look at this. We really need to get this under control, otherwise we're going to be coming in and putting on hards rather than mediums. Okay, I don't think we have any choice but to bring our boys in, because we've got absolutely no pace at the moment. We were a second slower than Gasly that time around. Vesti's just been overtaken by Ocon. Yeah, so we are running out of tyres. Fortunately, we're only going to be a lap earlier than planned, and it's going to be 2 laps earlier than planned with Vesti. We're going to have to double stack, and this is a bit of a worry actually for the rest of the race. If we're munching through our soft tyres this quickly, then that is a possible Achilles heel for us. Although Lewis Hamilton's in, he did start on used soft tyres though, so that does make sense. And then I suppose if you take in the relative performances of the cars, we're probably about where we should be. Both cars coming in then. We need a good stop here with Paul Aaron to make sure that there's no delays for Fred Vesti. 2.4 seconds, lovely stuff. 2.2 seconds, amazing. I didn't include it in the last recording because I completely forgot about it, but we did have the fastest pit stop in Australia, and I believe we are top of the pit stop leaderboard, so that's something for our team to be proud of, I suppose. Let's deploy some batteries, see if we can undercut a few of our opponents. Well, the undercut has worked. We were behind Ocon with Vesti, and now we are nearly 4 seconds clear of the Frenchman as he has just stopped. So we are looking at potentially gaining a number of places here. This strategy might yet work for us. We're harvesting some battery there with Paul Aaron. You saw his red light flashing. And yeah, maybe we can pick off the likes of Behrman, Hulkenberg and Gasly. Perhaps even Bottas. He's in. They're all coming in. This is it. This is the moment. We need to find out how many places have we gained. Paul Aaron across the start-finish line, and he moves up into 17th place. Vesti has got himself ahead of Bottas, just about. And what tyres have they all gone to? So mediums for Zhou and Gasly, hards for Bottas and Ocon. Interesting. There is divergence in the strategy. That's always fun. Paul Aaron is now 15th. He's now 14th. He's just overtaken Zhou Guanyu into the hairpin. We're riding on board with him as we go down the inside. And that's a very nice overtake. Job done for the Estonian driver. That moves him up a place. Perez has had a pit stop issue. And that's dropped him behind Fred. And we're trying our best to look after our tyres. We are pushing on them because we can. He's challenging Bottas here, but can't find a way past. That's Lawson just up the road. So we are in a couple of scraps here in various parts of the midfield. Zhou is going to be pretty quick. He'll have DRS, and Gasly will also have it too pretty shortly. In fact, I think he'll have it now. So we weren't managing our tyres, but then we stopped managing our tyres, and it helped us move forward a little bit. Vesti moves ahead of Bottas with the use of DRS, and he moves into 18th position. Can we get DRS off the back of Lawson? Yes, we can. This strategy really, really might work as Zhou goes flying up the inside. We need to stay with him, and we have immediately failed in doing that. 2.3 second stop for Paul Aaron. I was just calling Fred Vesti to the pit lane. That is the fighting Red Bull pair that you've just seen going past you, and Yuki Tsunoda leads the Chinese Grand Prix. What a shot in the arm that would be for him if he could win, well, maybe not this race, but maybe his home race next time out in Japan. And we need to get these tyres up to temperature with both drivers. We will need to save fuel at the end, but hopefully we will have some sort of stoppage or intervention that will help us with that. Fred on his way to the pit lane for soft tyres. This is where we can do some damage with a really nice undercut. So our undercut has worked so far in the fact that it's got us back ahead of Zhou, but he's now going to be on much fresher hard tyres. However, he'll take those to the end. We might be able to, well, we will probably be too far away to catch him, but any kind of late intervention, we could be bang in business to catch some of these drivers as Lando Norris dives for the pit lane and Zhou goes past us. Fred Vesti has shaken off the attentions of Esteban Ocon. They were having a bit of a ding-dong. We are 5 seconds apart with our drivers, which is pretty good, I suppose. You know, Fred has been behind the whole time because that's where he qualified. But, yeah, we've got some relatively decent pace. This will come to us later on. And we are... How far behind Hulkenberg are we? We're only a couple of seconds behind him. He's yet to stop for a second time. So this could yet be a day where we finish ahead of one or both of the Saubers again. We have caught and overtaken Nico Hulkenberg. There he is in the Sauber, and there we go in our AHGP car. and into 16th place. Alex Albon is chasing us down for that position, and he's now taken it, so we're back to 17th. But we are not far away from our final stop. We are now having to save fuel though, so we're not running at 11. We're probably running at about 7 or 8 in terms of our overall pace. But we're ahead of Hulkenberg, who will be into the pit lane again soon. So maybe we can pick him off today. Okay, we won't be picking Nico Hulkenberg off. Although actually he's still behind us. Paul Aron's just had a spin at the hairpin. All on his own, just lights the rear tyres up. That's not real. That wouldn't happen. It would happen much closer to the traction zone. He'd be away and gone by that point. But yeah, that's not ideal. We'll attack on the tyres and bring him in on the next lap. So I don't think it's hurt him too badly because Hulkenberg is still behind him. Paul Aron heading to the pit lane as Yuki Tsunoda sets the fastest lap. Fred Vesti will be in on the next lap. There he goes into 17th. We need a good stop. And we get it. 2.4 seconds. Lovely stuff. We still need to save quite a bit more fuel. So we'll let this Mercedes through of Antonelli. And then we'll hopefully be able to save the rest of the fuel that we need to get to the finish. Here's Fred's final stop then. 2.3 second stop. Our pit stops are fast, our car less so. But this will serve us well when we are at the front because we'll have a good pit crew able to deliver fast pit stops and give us, hopefully, some really important positions. Hulkenberg, has he stopped yet? Yes, he has. And he's cleared off ahead of Paul Aron. I didn't notice that, but we will deploy and see if we can close up to the Sauber. Paul Aron is off the road again. He's just locked up at turn 14, charging into the braking zone and snatches the wheel. Not too much smoke, so doesn't look too bad, but definitely not ideal. Our drivers are now fighting each other. We've been just trying to conserve as much fuel as possible, and now here we go with a scrap between the pair. Please don't crash, that's all I ask of you both. As Fred Vesti overtakes his new teammate. They've been teammates for 5 races now. Obviously Paul Aron joining in Las Vegas last season as we binned off Baruti Noeke. And now he finds himself chasing his teammate, and we still need fuel to get to the finish. I think we should be just about okay because we're a lap down, but it's definitely not helping our cause that we were so underfueled. It was always a bit of a Hail Mary strategy, and it just hasn't quite worked out for us as hoped. But we just need to develop the car. That's all we need to do, is make the car better, and then we should be able to fight a little bit higher up the order. But there is a big gap between the top 5 teams and the bottom 5 teams. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton is 35 seconds clear of Carlos Sainz, and this is a race winning Carlos Sainz in a Williams. And the Williams is definitely the class of the midfield pack as Paul Aron moves back ahead of Vesti. The Haas cars are mired at the back, Ocon and Behrman bringing up the rear, which shows that we're definitely not the worst team on the grid. Sauber seem to have done something with their car over the winter, and with a better driver combination they seem a lot more potent, although they were good in the early races last season and then just fell away. So hopefully they get some sort of nerfing, and we can close up on them later on in the season. Here comes Vesti down the inside. And that was so close to contact, and Paul Aron has to give way. He won't be happy about it, but he will still pick up DRS. The tyres are cold, don't worry about it, lads. And we'll have, I think, one more lap for them to... There's 2 more laps for them to scrap it out. And obviously Aron's tyres will be much the worse for wear now. So this is the last lap, because Tsunoda's actually going to win for Red Bull. This is our final lap. We should be just about okay to get to the flag. Tsunoda wins from Verstappen, Norris and Piastri. Then Leclerc, who's thoroughly outclassing his new teammate Lewis Hamilton. Right, what's going to happen here between our drivers? Let's hop on board. Oh no, we'll watch it from off board, see if Paul Aaron can get close enough into the braking zone. Hopefully we don't just run out of fuel before the line. That would be mightily embarrassing. But Paul Aaron has got DRS. And he's going to challenge his teammate. Oh, he went for it. But Fred defends and protects the position. We should be fine to cross the line just in time. There we go. 19th and 20th. I mean, this does tick off the sponsor objectives that I set. And Vesti's was 19th and Aaron's was 20th. So that's good. Means we can pay for more parts. At the moment, we haven't had to manufacture anything new. We picked up underfloor damage in Australia, but that wasn't our fault. We haven't had crash damage. So that's positive. We've beaten the Hasses. We still need a lot of work to catch Sauber and Alpine, sadly. So victory for Yuki Tsunoda, and that takes him to the top of the Drivers' Championship. Interesting. Maybe Christian Horner should have a look at this, and this is what they should do for 2025 in reality. Lando Norris moving up to 3rd. We drop down to place with Paul Aaron. Fred Vesti moves up a position. And yeah, we are 20th and 21st out of the 22 drivers that are participating in this championship. Ignore Logan Sargent. He's not actually competing. Constructors' Championship, we remain bottom, which is worrying. But there's always opportunity for us to develop this car more, and then we will hopefully move up the order. Well, unfortunately, the strategy didn't quite play out as we had hoped, but we finished essentially where we started, and that's, well, that's not great. It's not bad either. At least we didn't get overtaken by anything from behind. If you enjoyed this video, leave a nice big thumbs up on it and subscribe for more F1 Manager content. I'll see you for the next round in Suzuka. You're the best fans. It's bye for now. We'll be right back.